Have you ever rolled up on someone and they seemed normal? They're speaking normally. They may have or appear to have the same interests that you do, and they might even be charming, and you seem to get along with them well, except your gut feeling, your intuition is telling you something's violently wrong with this person. I have. This is the story of the narcissist. I think a lot of us have. I think a lot of us have been taught to not listen to our intuition, that still small voice, when things are wrong. There's more than two or three lines of communication that are going on with the narcissist at any time. There's the Facebook face that they put out for the world. There's the thought processes, which you really can't keep your thoughts private forever because they eventually manifest. Thoughts are things, and you'll finally see it in actions. And then there's like even the deeper meta communication, like on the spiritual level. And so these things aren't really matching up, but we're taught to not listen to ourselves when it comes to the narcissist. Well, it comes to anybody, but especially with the narcissist is where you get in trouble with this. Just a short answer. I'm not blaming my dad for this, but I'm going to tell you it's a short story of where one example of how I learned not to listen to my intuition is that he had a business partner. We went to the guy's house for something, big house, and he addressed me, said something, and I couldn't respond. Man, something just shut me down around this guy, and I couldn't respond. Even if I tried, I couldn't say anything. And man, did I get in some serious trouble when I got home. I'm not blaming my parents for this issue, especially not my dad, but I see where he's coming from. That the guy said something, I didn't say anything back. It's very rude for a kid not to say anything, but I couldn't. And then come to find out, this psychopath, he just this guy. I don't know how much money it was, but I know it was a lot. That a lot of time and energy and dollars that were lost by dealing with this guy. And I think maybe if my parents had just said, "Oh, why don't you like this guy?" Maybe listening for a minute, maybe they wouldn't have attempted to do business with him. But that was one time where I learned not to listen to my intuition. And it just got worse because we're always taught to second guess ourselves. This is something it's a very narcissistic society, which they keep telling you not to believe your lying eyes, that somehow your perceptions are wrong. Well, by the time you run into your adult life and dealing with a narcissist, that voice is gone. And it can take an entire decades to lifetimes to revive it. I was thinking about that situation, that story that I just shared with you, and I was thinking about the times that when I acted out negatively to the narcissist, when I was less than kind. And I've heard something termed recently, I heard it called reactive abuse. And I don't really like that term because I don't want to hang the word abuse or abuser on the victim. But I can tell you this, when I was thinking about this happened, that happened, and when I acted ugly, and when I said this, and when I did that, which is a good way to indicate that you're not a narcissist if you're trying to take responsibility in any form. Of course they don't. But without exception, 100% of the time, there is provocation somewhere. Even though the narcissist was putting on the face and putting on the Facebook for the world, there was a lot of meta communication that was going on underneath that if you are tuned in at all, and I think a lot of us are, I hear the narcissist empath situation, a lot of empaths, and I still want to be careful with that term. I'm not 100% on that, but we can just say that maybe you're more sensitive than others, which is odd because you'd think we would be able to pick up on what the narcopath is doing, but we don't. But anyway, that you're picking up on the meta data, the meta communication, and acting out on it, which was what was going on 100% of the time. Not one time am I ever thinking, it's just not in me. I don't have it to sit around and think about how I'm going to jack around with someone that's in my family, or that I'm married to, or that I'm a parent of, or a child to. It's just not something that I think about. But the narcissist does. They plan and they plot and they gaslight. Nothing that they do is genuine, and so it's not matching what they're saying, and so it's an affront to your intelligence. And eventually people act out, which is what I was doing, and it was a vicious cycle. I could never figure out why it was that nothing would ever get solved. And the reason why is the narcissist doesn't want it to get solved, because they feed on your anger and they feed on your disappointment. They feed on that. I would watch her. I would get very angry about something, and I would watch her get calm. And I'm like, why are you so calm after everything that would just happen? How could you be so relaxed? Because that's the emotional supply. I didn't pick up on this. I didn't understand this at the time. So when you're acting out, you're probably acting out on this, again, on this meta communication. There's the Facebook face that they show everyone. There's the crappy way that they think, the manipulation, gaslighting, backstabbing, all the stuff they do, smearing your name to people there. And then underneath that, because it's more than just a personality disorder. This is a spiritual universe, and these are the spiritual aspects, or like I said, lack thereof, of the narcopath. You have to be, because they choose this behavior. They choose it. Man, I don't like it when people are mad with me. It's not something that I enjoy. It's when someone's disappointed. I don't seek to bother someone so that I can get supply from it. Very, very sinister way to behave. And I watched this. I put up with this for decades out of loyalty and out of being entangled with one of these monsters. To the point where there was men coming into my house. No wonder the damn back door was unlocked all the time. And also to the point where, I know you hate my guts, but I'm going to eat the food that you feed me. I've got several of these stories where I told you about. There was the cold pasta that they threw away and got angry because why would you be angry that I wouldn't consume something? That doesn't make any sense. Another time there were 2 plates of food exactly alike. I can tell you there was chicken and there was cabbage, and that was it that was on the plate. I took one, and she said that that was the wrong one. How could it be the wrong one? They're exactly the same. And then she threw hers away. So not listening to your intuition, the metacommunication, can have some really devastating results. We're taught not to listen to it. And we can revive that, which is, I hope that's what you're doing. I know I've been able to in the last couple of years. It takes a long time to untangle from what these monsters do. So if you are acting out in some way, you need to see what the cause and condition is. If it's just you being, out of control or, immature, that's something that you need to work on yourself. But guaranteed, if you're around a narcissist, guaranteed if it's some interaction with them, there's something going on. There's something that they're doing. And it is kind of it's a mystery. Sometimes it's hard to put your finger on. But I can tell you that it is a spiritual aspect. Even on that note, I want to say that it's even deeper than the surface and the thought process and the spiritual processes, because sometimes they can just upset your, and this is getting kind of deep, and I hope too many of you don't disagree with me on this, but that it's like their soul signature can just disrupt things just by their presence, just by them being around certain things. Recently, I was not a target of this narcissist, but in a small business and some people that I know. And when the narcissist would come in, things would break around them. Just stuff would just happen. And it's like this soul signature that people carry around, that this is where it's hard to detect the narcissist, because if you're looking at surface level, but if you look at what's happening around them, sometimes, things are really out of whack. Not so much the mechanical aspects, but I could just feel it. I could feel when the narcissist was going to do something, but I never could prove it. I wasn't looking for proof. I was looking to give them a pass. I was looking to make things work. I was looking to be loyal. I was trying to, again, like when you go into problem solving and you go in to solve the problem and they just want to continue it because they get supply from it, you'll never get it solved. That's the MO. That's what they do. That's the soul signature. So even when they're around, even when they're not saying anything, the disruptive pattern that they carry with them can have devastating results on the people around them. Man, they're good at one thing, being a narcissist. Usually don't have any other talents besides that. It's deeper than just a personality disorder. This is a spiritual universe, and it's a spiritual malady. There are other aspects to what we see in here. There's higher and lower, and I have a feeling that some of these people have some very low hell realms that they're going to go to probably for some very, very, very long time. And that's unfortunate, because all of this, every single bit of the way they act, is all completely unnecessary. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me. I'm not going to try to sell you a coffee cup. But with that, I'm going to sign off. I wish you health, happiness, security, freedom from suffering, and that you live your lives with ease.